you cut into it and it was like butter.
Oh,
Like I have never cut into a steak and had the knife just slide to the bottom of the plate the way it did. And then you put it in your mouth and it basically just melted in your mouth. Like it literally.
Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
we're going to travel way back today, Impulse. We're going all the way back to 2016.
Yeah.
Is that right?
The good old days.
Yeah.
The good times.
The good when times were simpler. This was like nobody knew what the word COVID was. Nobody knew there was so much coming that nobody knew it was coming. And it was all about Minecon in 2016. Living with the Hermits.
We were allowed to like get together in a convention center, pack in super tight. Con flu was not a big deal. It was just a known thing that was you were going to leave a convention with. You know,
I was like, "What's con flu?"
You never heard of con flu?
No.
Convention flu. It's like you go to a convention and you're around so many people, you're bound to leave with some sort of illness, and we were okay with it. Like we knew going in we were going to get it. So, you know, we play Minecraft, and Minecraft has had yearly conventions, in-person conventions back in the day that we could go to and hang out with fellow Minecraft lovers. And of course, being in the YouTube space, there would be some fans, as much as I hate that word, but there would be people that would want to come and meet us and get autographs and things like that. So we really liked going to those things because it really puffed out our chests a little bit, make us feel special, but ultimately we get to put faces to all the viewers and comments that we've seen online. So it was like a reminder of why we do it. So I've been to a few. I went to one in Orlando in like 2013. And then I think the next one was in London. And then the one that we want to talk about today was what happened in Anaheim, because that's the one that you came to.
Yeah, 2016. I remember because I think, pardon me, I think it was... it may have been the London one or whatever, but it was one of them. You came back and you said, dude, you're going to the next one.
Yeah.
I said, I want to go. God, excuse me. I said, I want to go. I really want to go. I just, and you were like, no, there's people asking about you. I'm like, no, there's not. And you're like, there is, man. Like, you're going to want to go. And we've kind of pondered and told stories about this a little bit here and there, but I think we're going to dive into just kind of that whole experience, house with the Hermits, just chilling in that, because we had the VRBO, right?
Yeah, we did it right. Like we got a bunch of people that wanted to go that we knew. Not all Hermits, some of them were just friends of ours from online, and we'll mention their names later. But decided just to get a big house that we could all stay in, chip in. The house was literally just right down the road from the convention center, so we could like walk to it basically if we needed to. And then we all just like chilled in the house and would get up every day and just head on over to the convention center, hang out, check out all the exhibits, do a panel. The Hermits did like a panel, we got up on stage in front of a room full of people.
About that too, dude. Woo! This is gonna be fun. We got stories.
It was great. Let's see. So I said there were some people that weren't Hermits. I think of those, the guy Erdy was one of them. He's the one that actually like took charge basically and booked the house.
Oh, dude, he was awesome.
There was Dadcraft, right?
Yep.
He was at the time I think streaming on Twitch. He still does YouTube. Super cool dude. Kimmy, just a friend of ours. And who else am I missing that wasn't a Hermit?
Well, at the time, Natalie was not a Hermit at the time.
Oh,
Natalie, who's
Natalie? Everyone's like, who's that? Stress Monster.
Stress Monster, yeah.
And she's a Hermit now, though.
She's a Hermit now, yeah. I'm saying she wasn't a Hermit at the time, and that's because she had that Essex accent. I'd always say to her, Natalie, because I just wanted to be able to say it like as close to her, and she would go, yeah. And for some reason, it just made me laugh so much. But it was, and then of the Hermits, we had obviously you, Tango, Mumbo, Iskall. Am I missing one? There's also another non-Hermit. Vicky was there, who's Mumbo's better half.
Yeah, Hermit's girlfriend, Mumbo's girlfriend.
Yeah. But I'm saying is there other? I feel like
MK was staying with us. We didn't mention right.
MK was there. She
staying
was
with us.
there.
MK the worst. She's not a Hermit, but yeah, she was staying as well.
Yeah,
she was a night owl though, so we rarely saw her. She was out hanging out with some friends that she knew most of the time, so she wasn't at the house a whole lot. But
well, it's more. She was also kind of like a superhero. She wasn't just a night. She made no sense. She was everywhere at once.
She was working
all the time.
it.
Yeah,
she was working the con, working the convention,
working the con. And I actually made a video about this as soon as I got back called something. I don't know. It was, I don't know. It was called like Life with the Hermits or something. I don't remember what it was, but
Yeah.
I talk about that too, is that like MK was so all over the place because she was, I don't know, understand.
She was networking, man. She was like that was part of the convention life was to to network and meet as many people as you can and like go out and make strengthen friendships that you may have just established over the internet and weren't super strong. Go actually meet people for the first time IRL.
Yep.
So yeah, she was off doing quite a bit of that. We did as well. We had friends from Beam. I think this was pre-Mixer days, maybe. So before Mixer, the streaming service that's now gone, it was called Beam.
Yep.
And Tango and I, we were one of the first people on Beam, approached by Matt Salzamendi and James.
Suit James is what I call him.
Yeah, Suit James is his online handle. So yeah, they were the founders of Beam, and so we got a chance to like meet them for the first time IRL too. Yeah. And we have a story about that we'll get into. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, we rolled in, me, you, and Tango. We carpooled. We
did. We drove all the way there.
Just drove to Cali from AZ.
Yep, I remember
6-hour drive.
That wasn't how I met Tango. That was like maybe the second time. I remember you and I had gone and grabbed a couple beers with them earlier that year. Mm-hmm. And then when we went to Minecon.
Sodas.
Yes. No, beer. But when we went to go to Minecon, that was the first time I guess like had spent extensive time with Tango or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like, I really like this dude, man. Like I thought, I don't know him. I didn't know him at the time. But like once we did that road trip, it was just like, this is gonna be good. Like we had some bonding moments and it was good. But the house itself, was a beautiful house, by the way. And I remember when we walked in and there was all these, hermits. And like you said, do you remember this? Erdy was just like zipping back and forth between us and the airport. Just
he was like a chauffeur.
Dude.
I don't know if that was by choice, but like he would go and like, I think he picked up Iskal and Stress maybe from the airport.
Yeah.
And then he'd come back and then like MK flew in. So he went and got her and, like he was just going back and forth. I mean, the airport, it wasn't like right next to this place either. So I felt pretty bad for him, to be honest.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, and I remember one time, in fact, it's all coming back to me. When I did the video where I recapped all of this, I remember I talked about how Erdy would zip out. He'd be gone for an hour, hour and a half. He'd pick up somebody from the airport. He'd come back. They'd walk in with their suitcases. He'd sit down on the couch and go, oh, okay, I gotta go. And he would get up and go back. I'm like, what are you doing? Like that guy was a giver. And he was like a really, really, really nice guy. You know what's funny? It's like, I'm just gonna tell this teeny tiny story. I think the thing about Erdy is that what cracked me up so much is one time we were in the van and we had just parked back at the house and Dad Kraft had to like run in. We all called him DC, right? But he had to run in real quick. And so he gets out. I don't remember what it was. He had to get somebody. I don't know. And so he ran in, right? And it's all quiet in the van. I've never told this story. And Ernie's all, look at him. I can't even
hold it together, Skizz.
I can't do it. I used to be able to do this. He's all, look at him. That dad run. It makes absolutely no difference in walking. It was just like so funny, dude. It was so funny, dude. I just started laughing. And what's funny now is when I go running, I think of Ernie. I'm like, stupid Ernie. That's all I can think about is people probably want to yell at the window. Why don't you just walk?
Don't worry. We'll be giving Dad Kraft some props here in a second.
Oh, yes.
So to make up for that rip on him there. But it was funny. So we finally all got settled into the house and we realized we should probably stock this place with food, right? There's a whole bunch of us staying in this house for an entire weekend. We don't want to just be like eating out. I don't even know if DoorDash was a thing back then, but we realized that we needed to like go on a shopping trip.
Oh,
right?
yes.
So here we are, a whole bunch of different people from different parts of the world coming together to go shopping in a grocery store in Anaheim, California. And you got to tell the story. You got to tell the story because we decided we wanted burgers, right?
We have burgers, and we're gonna have burgers. We're gonna have all sorts of stuff. And I don't know if I'm telling the same story you're thinking of, but I remember like Iskal had said to me, he's like, "What do you want me to grab?" And I said, "Why don't you go grab some chips?" And he's like, "What? You want chips?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." So he goes, and I remember thinking that's kind of nice because most people would be like, "Well, what kind of chips?" And I would be like, "Just whatever you want, man, or just a variety or whatever." So he goes, he comes back, and he's got a couple frozen bags of fries. And I'm all, what's that for? He's all, you said to get these. I'm all, did I? Because I'm thinking, I guess we're doing burgers.
Yeah, burgers and French fries.
Yeah,
it's like
I guess it
typical,
makes
but you
sense.
didn't say French fries.
Right,
You said chips.
Yeah, and I said, well, where are the chips? He's all, they're right here. And I'm all, those are fries. He's like, no, these are chips. And I'm all, no, these are fries. Like, I'm just like, go back and forth.
You got an argument over what they're called.
I'm like, I don't, or maybe you might call them something different, but you're wrong. These are fries. I was like, let me show you what chips are. And I show him the chip aisle. He's like, those are crisps. I'm like, oh, okay, we're done here.
That was funny. Yeah, that's what I love. That like realization that we have like we're from different cultures and stuff, and in different parts of the world and call things differently. So we had that. We got a bunch of stuff. Like we stocked up, man. We got back to the house. We had some adult beverages. This was like the night before the opening day, I think, of Minecon. So we had a little bit of time to put our hair down and kick back and get to know each other.
We all kind of relaxed. We knew the next day was going to be pretty chock full, just energy and just walking around that convention. And I had no idea I'd never been to one before, so I was really excited. And we all, and I don't know if you remember, you and I slept on a couple air mattresses in this big like secondary living room or something.
Yeah, it was like a giant room that was like meant for like a pool table, but there was nothing in there really. So we just like air mattressed out on the floor. Like me, you, and Tango, I think all slept in that room like on the floor.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. But I remember what I enjoyed about it was typically every night I was up late anyways with all the people. But if I went to bed earlier, I was just tired. This is just me, man. When I go on my guys trip with my boys, we go to this cabin, once a year. Well, should be once a year. It's been too long. For some reason, when I can hear voices, like everybody laughing and mingling and stuff, I don't need to be a part of it to love it. You know what I mean? Like I can just be in the other room. And I remember laying on that air mattress one of the nights just because I was tired and just listening to everything and being like, I'm locking this in. I'm going to remember this moment for the rest of my life. Like all you out there cracking up, because the way my brain works is it sounds so ridiculously pretentious, but I think about the cosmos. I really do. I'm like, this is a moment, all of us, all of our journeys collided into this moment and it'll never happen again. Like we'll never all be in the same room again. Like I hate to say it, but that's the fact of the matter. And if I get proven wrong, well, good. I would love to be wrong about that, but I'm not going to be wrong about that. Like we're never going to come back together. And I remember thinking that, being like, this is I hope nobody's taking this for granted, because everybody in this house is awesome. Like everybody. Yeah. And that scares me, because there should be that one person that sucks. And if you don't know who they are, it's probably you. So I'm like, is it me? Do I suck? Like I was like,
you went to bed early on the first night. You sucked.
No, I didn't. Did I? No, it was several nights. I don't care.
Was it not the first night?
No, but I mean, like, it was like, we just had so much fun, but we go to bed that first night, we get up and it's Minecon day. And
exciting day. I think, yeah, that was the day that the Hermits were going to do a panel, was like on the
very first day.
The first day we were there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because the second day I was like super tired and dragging, and it was actually late to Minecon. I think we stayed back and watched the Cardinals play football on TV.
Yeah,
remember?
No, we watched ASU play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a college. It was a Saturday, which means Minecon must have started on a Friday.
Must have. Yeah.
But that morning, I've told this story several times, not on this podcast, or maybe I did. I don't care. We get up and you and Tango are getting ready, and you throw me a black Sharpie. And I'm like, what is this for? You're like, that's to sign autographs. And I throw it back at you. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to need that. And you throw it back. You're going to need that. Which was really humbling, because I was like, what are you talking about? But it was because of the previous Minecons that you had been to. And so I was like, so you're like, just put it in your pocket. Just put it in your pocket and just shut up. You know what I mean? So I just put it in my pocket, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let it affect my ego if I don't use this today. Like that stuff goes through your head, And so we went, and then the Hermits all did sort of a meetup, if you will. Like, we're going to be at
just out in front, like in the little breezeway between the convention center and like the hotel. Like there was like just a little area with steps and stuff. And I think I don't know if we tweeted it out or how we let people know that we're like, hey, we're just going to all be hanging out around here.
Yeah. You must have tweeted it out.
Next thing you know, there was a lot of people.
A good amount of people, dude. And I remember I was like, I'm going to get out of the way. And it was really just so cool to watch, and just way too much fun to just, watch my boy do his thing and sit back and watch Tango do his thing. And Mumbo's thing was a little bit different.
Mumbo was like the rock star.
Oh yeah,
like we were just the band members.
You were the drummer.
You the drummer?
Yeah, you're the drummer. Tango was the bass guitarist, And then the lead singer was Mumbo, and he was, I don't even know if he was there. I think he had to go somewhere else because the line, we'll cover that in a bit, but the line was.
Yeah, security eventually gets involved, and they're like, "This is a hazard. You're literally blocking the flow of traffic with all these people that are waiting to talk to you."
Yeah, but I remember I was like, there was like this, like a brick pony wall over on the side, like a planter place, and I went and me and DC went over there and sat down. Erdy and Kim, we sat down, and I'm just loving this. I'm just loving watching this. I'm a people watcher. I like to watch people, and I'm watching how you're interacting with the people who want pictures with you and stuff like that. And I'm just watching all this, and I remember like the very first person who asked for my autograph and picture was actually Alan Animal. That's the first person who ever. That was when I was like, whoa, people actually like know me, or this is neat, and it was a neat moment. And then that kind of went dormant for, 10, 20 minutes. And I was sitting on the wall and I was watching you do your thing. And this group of people were like, hey, and I saw them like lean into you. And I was like, it looked like they said, is Skizz, they must have said, is Skizz here? Because I remember watching you going, yep. And they're like, where is he? And you look over at me and you're all, he's right over there, man. And then they all come over. And then as they came over, more people were like, oh, it's, and the next thing I know, I was like, is this a line waiting for, like, this is a very awesome moment right now, So it was, I do try to stay grounded. I do try to stay humble, but I am human, and I'd be lying to everybody if I said that wasn't a giant ego boost. That felt amazing. It was a really cool thing. And I remember being like, I don't know what I'm supposed to sign. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
do even practice the signature.
Yeah, I don't know anything. Like, I don't know anything. And so I was like, do I do my name? Do I do Skizz? I don't know what I'm doing. And just right there on the spot, I decided to come up with I'm going to do a big giant S. So I write in all caps. Everything's all caps. So capital letters are just bigger caps, and lowercase letters are little caps. That's the way I write. And so I did a big old S, and the bottom of the S stretches out this long line. And that line is where I finish, the Kizzle Man, if you will. So S, Kizzle Man, And that just like right there in the spot. And the second I did them all, yeah, that'll do. I like that. I like that a lot. Now I actually have merch with it, and it's like on the shirts and stuff, just like that,
Nice.
So it was this really good moment. And I remember being telling myself, don't get ahead of yourself. This is very nice, and these people are really, really sweet. Everybody was super kind. And I remember one dude came up and he was very nervous, and he was like choking on his words and stuff. And I'm like, dude, it's fine, man. And I remember being like, when did this happen? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I just a dude who hangs out with my buddies and plays the games and stuff. When did this happen? And it was
somebody would be nervous to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
That'd be me going up to Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. I don't know.
Who's your idol that you think you would choke on your words?
This is going to sound crazy. I literally think nobody, and it doesn't mean that it's not a confidence thing.
You are one cocky son of a.
No, that's what I was going to say. That's not what it is. It's not like I wouldn't be in awe.
I can talk to anybody. It's fine. They're gonna love me.
No, they're lucky to see me. Okay?
Yeah.
No, it's
Ryan's gonna be begging to be my best friend.
It's quite literally, like, I'm not joking. I can't explain what it is. It's not that I'm not in awe. You know what I mean? If Tom Hanks was in the room, or Danny Carey was in the room, or Maynard Keenan. Maynard Keenan might be the only one, because that may be the only one who would intimidate me, believe it or not. All these people, and then some of my like lifelong, crushes, like celebrity crushes or whatever. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't be in awe, but I don't think I'd ever choke up, and I don't know what that is. I honestly don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. It's normal to be like stutter and be nervous. I think it's because at the end of the day, I don't care. I can make a complete ass out of myself in front of Ryan Reynolds, who's one of my heroes, and be like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean? He's not going to remember that. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just weird like that. But now you talk about Mumbo's line.
Mumbo's line it went on for miles. Like it was just, it swarmed. We couldn't walk anywhere. If Mumbo was with us, we couldn't move from point A to point B.
Yep.
Because we would like get a line immediately. And Mumbo is such a nice guy. There's no way he's just going to be like, sorry, I can't, and like he would stop. He would stop. And the second he signed one, next thing you know, there's a mob. And so, eventually like security would have to step in and be like, okay, look, we got to move this off of the floor, basically, of the convention. And like, if you're going to do autographs, like we need to set you up with a proper like signing booth with a proper queue and everything like that,
Yep.
So yeah, he would just get absolutely mauled. I felt like he literally needed to be walking around with 4 security guards or something.
Dude, it didn't help that he was also like 14 feet tall.
I know, you can spot Mumbo from a mile away.
Yes,
His head's
dude.
above. I mean, we're at a convention center for Minecraft. I mean, the average height was probably 3'6".
That's
So
oh boy. Are you including the kids who went to Minecon? So Mumbo's the dude where with just a little bit of yellow and black paint, he could go as a giraffe. He doesn't need any other stuff. He's just like, he's so tall. And I remember when that line was forming, it just, like you said, kept getting longer and longer. And at one point after, I think he was there for 2 hours and the line it never got smaller. And so we had to stand at the back of the line and sort of be like, we're gonna stop. And when we stood at the back of the line, we're like, it's gonna be another 40 minutes. You know what I mean? But it was fine. But we have to let nobody else get in line. So yeah, shooing away little kids to get that felt good. Yeah. But it had to happen. And like you said, Mumbo's too nice.
There's no way he's gonna walk away from anyway.
He would have stayed there until he was in the hospital.
He'd still be there today.
Yes,
if we let him. Yeah,
he was crazy. And here's the thing that really blew my mind is people would want to get like pictures with me or get my autograph or whatever it was. And I'm going to give them the autograph on whether they had one of the Minecraft swords or whatever they wanted to sign their shirt.
The swords were so hard to sign. Do you remember that?
Were they?
The felt of like
kind of stuck to the pen.
the Sharpie felt against like whatever that's made out of.
Yeah.
It was like just drag on there. You literally had to force your signature.
You had to take off your pressure and like drag it across like quick.
That and t-shirts. Like when they want you to sign t-shirts, especially if they're wearing them.
Yeah.
Which gets weird. Yeah, like you have to like stretch it out enough to.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do all that, but it's fine. But I would just sign my name and take pictures with them. And if they wanted a handshake or a hug, I'm fine with that. And then
that's where you get the con flu.
That's where you get the con flu.
All the handshakes and hugs.
Yeah,
and
kissed
all
a lot of people. I'm just kidding. But Mumbo, so most of his crowd, so a lot of my crowd, I mean, there were some kids, but there were some people my age, some people older or whatever. I attracted different demographic. And Mumbo was like probably 95% of his fan base was really little kids. And like we said, super tall guy. He'd get down on a knee for every single one of them. I watched this in awe. And let's keep in mind something. He was 20 years old at the time, 20. I literally didn't have even the inkling to show this kind of maturity until I was probably in my 30s. Mm-hmm. He'd get down on one knee and he would learn each of their names. And that was the other thing. I never wrote their names. I was too afraid I'd spell their name wrong. You know what I mean? If they gave me some like complicated name, I'd be like, what? He would learn their names. And if there was any question on the spelling, he would ask the spelling and he would make sure to write out a personal note to every single kid. And I'm like, okay, first of all, that's why this line has taken so long. And second of all, that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Yeah. He was so sincere, so genuine, so kind, so wonderful to every single person. And I'm like, how does he have, not the patience, that's not the right word, but it's like, you'd think at some time he'd be like, okay, I'm going to turn a dial to make this a little easier on myself. Not him. He just locked it in. Yeah. Every single person is going to get the same amount of time and each person's going to get a pretty extended amount of time. It was impressive, man. He impressed me.
Yeah. Mumbo was fun. Like we didn't see him a lot. He was super busy. You know, he had all these things, panels and stuff from himself to go to. And then the signings and stuff, obviously he spent a lot of time at. But when he wasn't at the convention, he was adamant at getting like the full-blown American experience. Do you remember that?
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
He was like, he wanted to go to like the most American restaurants possible. I think he wanted to go to Denny's for some reason. And I was like, what?
That's not what you wanted. Nothing against you, Denny's. That's not
but like he wanted to just taste everything that like is, you know, probably stereotypical American, you know? And if you've ever went out to eat with Mumbo, that dude can eat.
Well, that's a lot of body to feed.
It's a lot of body to feed,
yeah.
and like that dude can eat.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember in London we went out and he had to take us to a place, a burger place in London. I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure we'll get some comments. Where he's like, this is the best burger place. They make the best milkshakes and stuff. And we get there, and he orders the biggest burger, the biggest thing of fries, and the biggest shake possible. I was like, there's no way he's eating all that. He did it.
He did the whole thing.
He did it. And then I think he wasn't even full. At the end, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was
Some
crazy.
People can do that. I do remember because he was like, I'd like to get a proper pizza. And so I remember, I don't know what the pizza place was, but I did some looking around in that area and found what I thought was going to be a pretty good one, and it was.
Yeah, we didn't order Pizza Hut.
No,
right?
of course not. No,
We didn't
no.
order one of those fast food.
No,
pizza
we got
places.
some-
It was like a mom and pop,
Right.
like known for the
Yes,
Yeah.
like look at reviews and
Pizza
stuff
of
like
the
that.
year.
Yes, dude. And we got that. We brought a bunch of pizza home, and I remember he was really happy about it. Everybody was. We had all this pizza and just chilling out and having fun. And it's time for another night of game nights.
Yeah.
Remember the game nights?
Oh,
dude?
the game nights. What was that card game we were playing?
Okay, we
remember
got to
the
be
name of
careful
it?
here. We got to be careful. It was. I think it was Cards Against Humanity, but I could be wrong.
Probably.
there.
It was one of those kind of racy.
It was like, it was kind of, yeah, it walked the line constantly. And I'm going to tread very
Are you
lightly.
able to even get into this story? There's no way.
Well, I'm not.
There's
Hold
no
on.
way.
Yes, I can.
We said we're gonna stay like
I'm going to keep
family
it fun.
friendly
Believe
on
me,
the
it's gonna be,
podcast.
let me just put it this way. Something may or may not have happened that was very funny. And
the most you could do with that story.
wait a minute. Something may or may not have happened that was extremely funny. And it was at one person's expense, and they were a good sport about it. But then I kept finding ways to kind of razz them and zing them over and over again on that one thing, and they were getting not mad, but they were getting like, you could tell there was like a please let it go, because I'm very embarrassed. But it was like it was just causing too much laughter. It's like, you're gonna have to sacrifice yourself. This is too funny. And we were going on, and then I let a lot of time go by to where it felt dormant. And I leaned into the person during the game who owned the game, and I said, do you mind if I write on one of these cards? Because the whole premise is, here's what it is.
There was like a blank.
There's a prompt.
There was a blank card, wasn't there?
Well, there.
I thought he literally had like a
maybe.
blank card.
No, but that's not, because there is a version of that, but this one, okay, this was like, I was going to ruin the card. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the premise was this. The premise was there's a prompt, and then there's a bunch of different options in that prompt. And then you pick from your deck of cards on what you're to finish the prompt. And it's funny, and you win because that's the funniest or whatever. Anyways, this was one where I was just like, whatever the prompt was just great. And I was like, do you mind if I write on the cards? I'm like, go ahead. So I wrote a thing that brought it back to the person who was kind of on the bullseye. And right now everybody's like, God, just tell the story. I really can't. I wish I could, but boy, do I wish I could.
Yeah,
oh boy. Anyways, I brought it back, and it was, I'm going to remove you from the equation because you were the one who had to read the cards. It was your turn. You had to pick the funniest one. And I was like, please, God, I don't ask for much. Just please let him see mine and just give him a second or two to process what just happened, because you're not supposed to have writing on it. You read the first card, you read the second card, you laugh, or the third card, you pulled this one, and I'm watching your face, dude, and I see your eyes go like this, and then you're like, why is there writing? You read it, your brain processed it, and you lost it, dude. You lost it. You couldn't even read it. All you did was just die laughing, and everybody's like, well, I guess that card wins. They didn't know what it was. Like, how could one of the cards that came in the box be that funny? Yeah. You lost it, dude. You're all, we're going to save that one for last. And then you went through the rest. And then finally, and you read it. And as soon as you read it, the person who had the target was like, Skizz, and it was just like so funny. And we all just lost. And I remember when you read it, I guess this will remove Tango from the equation too. He quite literally fell off his chair laughing. I remember him hitting the wall. I remember being worried his head hit the wall. He fell off his chair laughing
we did damage
so
to the
hard.
house. We're going to lose the deposit.
Yes, dude. Yeah. He fell off his chair so hard. He went down to the ground. His head hit the wall. I'm like, oh, Tango. And he was on the ground just crying with laughter. But that was also one of those moments I'm talking about. The Cosmo moment I'm talking about, where it's like these are all people, most of whom have never met each other, all in this same room, and our vessels have come together to enjoy this just blink in time. It was like, what, 4 or 5 days, whatever it was, just in time, like barely that. You know what I mean? And it was just like, the amount of energy and positivity that we were able to bring out of that was, that's why I'm able to recall so many of these stories and relive the emotion.
That's what it was, man. Like, we were all there to have a good time. The vibes were just like super positive. We all had something in common. We'd all met through, a love for Minecraft, whether we were hermits or not hermits, it didn't matter. Everybody was, the same in that house, just cool people, fun to hang out with, to sit around and like play card games together, or just, go shopping together was just a really awesome experience.
Yeah. You know, and I remember I'd say one of the most memorable moments was so you guys had that panel coming up. This is a cool story. This is a cool dynamic right here. You guys had that panel coming up, and I had tweeted out that I was considering finding a way to live stream it with my phone because so many people were. It's not like it's live.
Yeah, they weren't streaming the panels back then at all. Like if you were they would show it on their YouTube channel like a month later.
Yeah.
Like on the Minecraft YouTube channel or something, they would eventually post it because they were recording it, but they weren't streaming it.
Yeah, they had professional cameras and everything, but like you said, they wanted to polish.
And there was a bunch of hermits that couldn't make it. You know, they couldn't fly all the way to the US to make the convention, or they're just, you know, like Azuma doesn't like go out in public, you know.
Yeah.
So you were thinking of a way like, how can I get this content out to people like right now? And you came up with like a really crazy way. It was like some live streaming app that like most people had never heard of at the time, right?
That's right. I installed it that day. It was called Periscope, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I had literally no experience with it. Now this is a good lesson right here. So I talked about, guys, I tweeted out, I think I might try to stream the Hermitcraft panel. And let's keep in mind, you guys had a huge showing. Like the amount of people that came to that area to watch the panel was big. It was a lot of people. And so I started messing around with this app. I don't know what to think. And my brain's like, dude, what are you doing? You're going to have all these people tune in to get a crappy experience because I don't know if I can rely on the Wi-Fi in this place. I don't know what kind of bandwidth this is going to be asking for. I don't know this app very well. So I'm messing with the app for a little bit, and I start to this like doubt washes over me to where it's like, okay, here's the deal. Why don't you just pull out of this? This is going to be a mess. You know what I mean? This is going to be a mess. It's going to be a bad experience. You're going to look like an idiot. You're going to get all these people's hopes up and then you're going to have to cut it off after a couple minutes because it's going to hitch so much. It's going to die. It's not going to work. And then I tweeted out, I'm like, guys, I'm sorry. It's not going to work. And this is back when I had like 400 Twitter followers. You know what I mean? Like it's that long ago. And I'm like, sorry, guys, it's not going to work, you know? And so I'm like, I'm really sorry. And then I started reading the comments. So like, oh man, I was really hoping to see it and blah, blah, blah. And there was like a lot of comments on, they really wanted to see it. I'm like, oh, now I feel terrible. And then this voice kicks in and my brain's like, okay, are you ready? You ready to pull your pants up? Your big boy pants up? Doesn't matter how comfortable you are. You know what I mean? Like giving into the discomfort, that's not your gig. What are you doing? And all of a sudden I'm like, I don't care how dumb I look. I don't care how dumb I look. I'm going to do this. So I started messing around more and more with their Wi-Fi, really learning what kind of bandwidth we were going to be dealing with here, running a quick test and people giving me some feedback that it was not bad. It wasn't bad. I'm like, okay, this might be good. Okay. And I was like, okay, sorry for that scare. We're definitely doing this. And so it was about time. Plus they got to see the behind the scenes stuff. And I start going, boom, I'm recording. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go live in 5 minutes. Gave them all the information. Boom, I'm recording now. And I get to do it's my creative vision. I get to move, I get to zoom, I get to do my thing how I see fit. And I'm like, okay, let's see if anybody jumps on. Hey, 5 people are on. That's cool. 10 people are on there. All right, good. You know what? I'll do it for 10, 15 people. I'll do it for the 30 people. That's fine. All right, 30 people. There's 70 people. We're at 800 people. Like it was like this. And it was like, I talk about this on my video. It was like, it felt my phone getting heavy. Like it was
people were in your phone,
dude. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so now in the heart, I think it had like the way the hearts go and people are just loving it. And they're like, you're a legend, Skizz, and all this stuff. And as you can imagine, the Twitter following just like, went big in that moment or whatever it was. But I would say as much as I enjoyed that, I'd say my happiest moment, I hope I'm remembering this correctly, was Ren Diggity Dog this was actually my introduction to Ren. Ren Diggity Dog was streaming at the time. And I think he had mentioned that he was like, I wish I could be there with my family, my hermit family. And somebody had said, hey, listen, Skizz is live streaming it now. And he's like, what? And so he gets in the stream. He just pivots. No more streaming, whatever I was streaming. We're just going to feed in Skizz's feed. Yeah. And so my thing, like my feed went over into Ren. So he just sat there just enjoying the whole thing. And I remember watching that back later and seeing like how appreciative he was, how appreciative his base was, and feeling just the love from everybody being like grateful. And I remember being like, I will hold my arms up. My arms will fall off my body before I put this phone down. Yeah. Like my phone will catch fire. Do what you need to do. I don't care. This is working. And I don't even know how, but it was perfect. it was perfect. There was no hitching. There was no packet drops. There was nothing. There was
crazy.
nothing. It was just perfect.
Everything just came together.
Yes.
The Ren restreaming it though, that's super cool.
That was so
it was like a
neat.
reaction to a reaction type thing.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah, that panel was super fun. I remember I got a little frustrated because do you remember what happened as we were going to set up?
All right, let me think. When we're going, there was like, I mean, there were some technical difficulties. I remember that in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, they had not realized that we had a member in a wheelchair. Scar was there.
Oh.
And they didn't make the little stage we were on handicap accessible.
Okay.
And so in order to get Scar up on stage, we literally had to lift him. Like 4 people had to go and lift him onto the stage. And that was a little bit frustrating that they hadn't like accounted for that. So I remember being a little bit frustrated as we started. Of course, I was, it happens. It happens. But I'm like, oh, well, you got me thinking, come on.
That's crazy. I'll tell you this right now. Like I've done event management before where I design everything, where every light is, every up light is, every prop, everything. And I'm just now realizing, well, I guess I've just gotten lucky. I've never made a ramp to the stage. I never thought
you
about
never
it.
had somebody that needed to come up on stage.
It never happened.
Wheelchair.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah.
But I'm just now realizing, like, what's crazy to me is like I would have several people QA. Like my challenge to my team would be, this is everything. We've gone over this for months, and your job is to find what's wrong with this plan, every bit of it. And so they'd have a couple of things, and nobody ever brought that up. It's crazy. I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Jeez, I got lucky.
So in that case, obviously it's something that's easy to overlook. But
yeah.
I just remember like feeling so bad for like Scar, you know what I mean? Like he shouldn't have to go through that. And like we're getting ready to do something really cool. It's supposed to be really fun, and for it to like have that one little like, come on.
Yeah.
That's an always fun way. But you're right. There was also technical difficulties trying to get Azuma patched in. So Azuma really wanted to be part of the panel, even though he couldn't make it in person. So we had like a head made, like an Azuma Doom skin head.
Like a box.
A box,
that had the, I don't remember who did that.
I don't remember
I feel like
either.
Tango did that.
I think somebody did it and got it to Tango.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So we brought this Azuma head and set it on the table and then patched Azuma in, I think, through Skype. Like that's how, it's 2016, I guess. Discord wasn't available yet. Anyway, so but like in order to get Azuma through Skype to where we could bring his voice like through the speakers that everybody there could like hear in person was a little bit difficult. I remember that we were like frantically trying to get that working, but we got it working. Yeah. And then the panel started and all was good. We were just chatting about Hermitcraft and that was easy. Like that was, I always like, we talked about this in previous podcasts, but like public speaking is something that I would typically would get nervous in unless it was a comfortable subject, and Hermitcraft was like the most comfortable subject we could ever talk about. So it was just like went from person to person. Mumbo, Iskal, Stress, Scar. I think even a few other hermits were.
I don't think Stress was a hermit at the time.
Oh, you're right. Stress was. You're right. She was in the audience. Joe was there. I think Python.
Joe wasn't on stage. Joe was your I don't know what the name of that job is, but he had like the mic, and he was like ingrained in the audience. Like
he was going around the audience asking for getting audience questions, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to remember all the different hermits that actually came. I think Hypno came to that convention as well.
Was he on the panel? Like I'm struggling.
I should have watched the panel
was
back.
Scar, Tango, you, Mumbo, Iskal. Gosh, I know there was more.
Yeah,
up
there was
I
at
feel
least
foolish.
6.
I feel really foolish.
I have to go back and look. I can't remember. Like that was 7 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. It was a long time ago.
But that panel went well. We answered a lot of questions, and it's one of those things that like once it started, it felt like it was over like in a blink.
Yeah,
And I was like, I want to do that again. And then you get done, and then it's like, okay, time to like come up, sign, talk to us and sign autographs and stuff. And then so we were there for a while, and can't get enough of that.
Oh man, you're making me remember all this. I remember, like I said, I remember Joe Hills going throughout the crowd and getting questions. I remember you guys being able to bounce back and forth really organically. I remember one of the questions that you had gotten. I don't remember the actual question word for word, but it was something because you were a newer member of the server at the time, like
really new,
brand new. Yeah. Like you may have been the newest member.
Probably. Yeah,
which
probably
begs
was.
the question, what the heck are you doing up there? Anyways, I'm just kidding.
No, I think Escal and like Python and them came in after me, but it was still really fresh. Okay. Yeah.
No, that wouldn't make sense either. That means that. Oh, you mean? Oh, I got you. It makes sense. Okay, I don't know, but you were new, and you talked about your first day on the server. That like you were nervous, and you want to make sure that you're bringing value to the server. And they like threw you I think you said they threw you like a stone pick, and they said like make us a gold farm or something. I don't know. What was it?
Build a witch farm.
A witch farm. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Build a witch farm. Like, they gave you like one.
Welcome to Hermitcraft. Build a witch farm. Go. Wait, I don't even have a base. Who cares? Build us a witch farm.
Yeah. Well, wait.
Look, there's 4 witch huts and there's 3 redstoners. You're the 4th. Come on. You're going.
Did you come in like in the middle of a season?
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
Middle of season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was funny because like that season, I remember they picked that seed because they wanted 4 witch huts. Like witch farms were like the biggest like thing, the OP farm at the time. And so they found a seed where there'd be 4 witch huts in vicinity of each other so they could have them all connected. And then halfway through the season, when they're ready to start building it, they realized there's only 3 actual like redstoners in the group. Mm-hmm. And so Tanger's like, I know a redstoner that could be good for Hermitcraft. And then they invited me just to build a. I thought literally I was going to build a witch hut and then they're going to ban me, but they let me stay. So that was fun.
That was good, man. No, you seemed comfortable in your own skin up there, which is good. Tango seemed comfortable. Azuma seemed comfortable. Is that square box?
Yeah, he didn't ever crack a smile though.
No, but he did move his head a lot because like Tango would grab the box and wiggle it like this. Yeah,
Tango would move the box as Azuma was speaking to animate it. That was funny. Yeah, that was a fun panel. And then we enjoyed the rest of the day. Like we explored the convention. We went around all the exhibits and stuff and just caught whatever we could catch. And then at the end of the day, I think this is when we really didn't know what we were doing that night. We didn't have any plans. We just figured we'd just go back to the house and just have another game night or whatever. And I remember getting a text from Matt and James from Beam/Mixer.
Oh my god!
And they're like, "Hey, what are you up to tonight?" And I was like, "Well, we don't have any plans actually. Like we're trying to figure it out still." And they're like, And then I was like, "Wait a minute. We have this entire house." And these guys are looking for something to do. Maybe we invite them over because like we had a lot of fun last night. Like just invite these guys over, And I was like, hey, look, we're staying in this house. There's plenty of room. Like we could go grab some drinks from the grocery store or whatever, stock the fridge, come on over and kick back with us. And they're like, okay. And then like we got a couple of our like from on staff people with us as well. Is that cool? I think like they had like 2 or 3 other people that were like developers and stuff. And I was like, yeah, bring them on by. Next thing you know, like we basically had a party.
Yeah,
we basically had a party.
A huge party.
So all the other hermits that weren't stayed at the house, came by. Joe, Hypno came by for a while. Python came by for a while. And so we just had like a whole bunch of people just hanging out of the house and making food, kicking back a few adult beverages and just chatting about anything and everything. I remember Beam/Mixer. I can't remember if they had changed their name yet. Was brand new. So I remember like a lot of the hermits were like talking to them about the service because Tango and I had already been on it and stuff. And I think you two were on it. And so there was a lot of questions. So Matt and James were busy getting asked questions about how the platform works and stuff like that. But I had a good time. That night, I remember listening to Matt Salsamendi, one of the founders of Beam, just explain their whole process and how they got started and set up the company and stuff.
They're young kids.
Very young kids. Very young.
Yes.
And I was just like sitting back, just like listening to him talk. And I was like, this kid is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Like he is the smartest person I've ever met.
Yeah. It was really humbling. And they were both so kind and just so, remember the dinner that they threw?
Yeah. They invited us to a private dinner at that steakhouse. What was that place called?
Oh, I don't know, dude.
Oh my gosh.
It
ruined steaks for me forever.
Oh, let me tell you, hey, all you wonderful people, let me tell you about this steak. Wish I was eating it right now. No, it was let's wait on the steak for a second. Let's just talk about the getting to the place first, because I wasn't invited, but they were like, bring a +1. So I was your +1.
My +1.
I didn't even have to put out. It was great. And I I remember you had known that there was the potential of a nice dinner before we had even left to go to the convention. And so I was like, well, I'll bring some nice pants, I guess. I don't know. Who cares? You know, this is fine. So I brought some nice clothes. And I remember this. This is what I mean by this was a good moment with me and Tango. This is where I was like, it's so crazy, dude. This was actually the moment. I'm like, you know, I like this dude. I think we could be good friends. I admire his attention to detail. I admire his strive for perfection. I really, really do. It's a detriment to him. It is. He is without a doubt his biggest critic, and second place is nowhere to be seen. Like in regards to the delta between first and second, he is his biggest critic. And I remember we were going to go and you had nice pants. And he's like, Skizz, do you have nice pants? And I said, I do. He goes, I only brought jeans. I'm like, well, we'll be fine. And he's like, will it? What am I supposed to do? And I was like, dude, Tango, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But if you want to go get pants, let's go get pants. I had the car. Mm-hmm. I'll take you to get pants. He's like, I don't know if we have time. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's kind of crunch time. Like we were getting dressed, you know? And so we're sitting there and it was one of those things where my brain's like, okay, what does he need to hear right now? I want to be here for him because it's a big moment because these guys were the founders of Beam and everything. And I remember, and I was like, Tango, here's the deal. If you show up in jeans, there's going to be plenty of people there in jeans. It's going to be fine. Nobody's going to know the difference, but you're going to know, and it's going to mess with you. So if you want pants, there's time, but we got to go now. And he's all, let's go. And so we jump in the car and it was actually, the thing is a bit of a photo finish. Like it was all the way down to, I pulled into whatever place we went. I don't even remember where we went. Like I have no idea, but I'm like, we don't have time for me to park and walk in with you. And it's busy. I'm going to drop you off at the front door. I'll drive around and pick you up. So that's what we did. He goes in, and to his credit, boy, was he fast, man. And he went, he hops back in, and it was a good moment because
he just grabbed him off the rack, put him on, and walked out. Didn't even pay.
They fit him fine, but yeah, I hope he paid for him. But I'm sure he did. Obviously, he paid for him. So he comes out, he gets in, and he's very grateful. I'm like, it's not a problem, man. And so we come back, we get dressed, we're there on time, and I'm like, I'm so glad we did that because look how relaxed he is. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, he'd have
been stressing about it all night. Would have ruined his night.
And
right?
There was like several people in jeans.
Oh,
you know
that totally
I mean?
was like in t-shirts. Like, you walk into this restaurant and it's supposed to be fancy. Yeah, you know, but here's a bunch of like YouTubers and streamers like that couldn't care less what they look like. And they basically escorted all of us like through the kitchen anyway, so the guests wouldn't see us to this private area.
Yeah, like yeah, and it was funny. And he looked sharp. You know what I mean? He looked good, and he felt good, and it was a good moment. And I remember this was I will be happy to ask for forgiveness if I have to. I don't think I'll have to, but this was another good moment. So I'm sitting at the table. You're on my left. Or no, I don't remember where you, you had to have been at my left because I'm sure you and I would have sat next to each other and Tango's at my right. Mm-hmm. And Matt and James, you know, walk in and, you know, kind of a little crowd collects around them because they're a pretty big deal. And you get up along with somebody else to go greet him and everything. And this is, it wasn't a suck up moment. It's a networking. It's also, thank you for letting me be, you know, thank you for the invite. It's what you should do. And I could tell, like, so Tango wanted to go, but he didn't want to crowd him. He didn't know if he'd be out of place. He didn't, you know, he was overthinking it, in my opinion. And so I'm sitting there, and he's not saying anything, but I can just see it on his eyes. He's like watching you and watching everybody, just watching the crowd, sitting in his chair, just watching. And I'm sitting there, and so I do this with my leg. I bump him with my right leg, and he looks over at me, and I'm all. That's all I did, right? It was so good moment. I do this.
Head nod.
I do this. He looks at me, I go like this, and he goes, do you think so? I said, I know so. And he just pops up and goes over there. And it was like, you know what? I'm just now meeting this guy, and he's investing some like some faith in what the things I have to say. How humbling is that? Like, it was a really, really good thing. And from that moment on, I remember being like, you know what, Tango, I'm in your corner, whether you know it or not. Like, it was a good thing. I just like, it was just, I just saw such a tremendously human aspect to him that I really, really enjoyed. And, you know, who knows? After this, he might be like, dude, why'd you tell everybody that? You know what I mean? And I'll smooth that over too.
Just go pick up one of those filet mignons that we had.
Oh, yeah. Now you get to the steak.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So it was one of those things where I think, you know, they threw down for this private party and they had like a certain budget, right? That basically they prepaid for however much food and drink we were going to consume. And I think they realized early on, based off of how many people showed up, that in order to get their money's worth, we were all going to have to order the most expensive meal on the menu and the most expensive like beverages. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so they were telling us like, do it up. Like we need you to do it up in order for us to get our money's worth. It's like everybody ordered like the filet mignon or whatever. It was like the most expensive thing. And it came out and it was just the size of like a football. Like,
dude, it was the size of a softball.
All right, fine. It was big though.
It was big. It was definitely big.
But
it wasn't just big. It was like, remember the texture of it, dude?
That was it.
Yeah.
Like you cut into it and it was like butter.
Oh.
Like I have never cut into a steak and had the knife just slide to the bottom of the plate the way it did. And then you put it in your mouth and it basically just melted in your mouth. Like it literally. And I remember I was like, I'm going to sit here and really enjoy this, but I know for a fact I'm never going to be able to eat a steak again and like be happy with it because this has now set the bar so high that I'm never going to be happy again.
Dude, it was like biting into it was just a little tougher than cotton candy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was just, oh my goodness gracious.
So
it was unbelievable. And I remember being like, I like steak, but I was never a huge steak guy in my life. And just like you said, I thought the same thing. I ate them all. Well, all steak is ruined for me. Like this is the best. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I feel, tell me if you think I'm crazy, but I feel like that was about $400 to $500 a plate.
Oh,
it was.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't pay attention to that,
ridiculous.
But it was one of those places where
it was all Microsoft covered, right? Because Microsoft had just bought Beam. And
maybe that's what it was. Yeah. Maybe they just got acquired. And so, they were out to rub some elbows and get some new people on the platform to really get it to grow and stuff.
So good.
So I wasn't like, I'd been to conventions before, but I'd never been in that space to where I was getting wined and dined, if you will. And so that was my first experience of that. And I was like, oh, is this what life is like as a YouTuber? Like, no, I haven't had it happen. I haven't had that happen since actually, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was. I remember there was one of the steaks was left untouched. And
somebody ordered and then had to go.
Something happened. Yeah. And it was like, when you eat these steaks, you should have the finest silverware. You should tuck your napkin. You should only talk proper, pinky out. And one dude's all, we're not just going to leave that, are we? And we're like, that would be a crime to leave that steak. He's all, anybody mind? I remember who this YouTuber was. So funny. We're like, dude, just go, Colonel. And he picks it up like an apple.
Barehanded.
Yeah, and he goes, hum. We all were like, woo!
It's like one bite out of it and put it back down. Oh, yeah, that was great. I can't remember. Was that our actual last night there? I think it might have been. I feel like it might have been the last night.
Very likely that it may have been. And then back to the house we go. Trip's wrapping up.
Yeah, I remember last night, like we were kind of like hanging on for dear life. We didn't want it to end. And so we kind of pulled a late night one. At least I did. I remember that.
Yeah. I actually think that was the one and only night I went to bed early.
Was that?
Yeah.
You were cashed out.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna go to bed.
And I was the opposite. I was like, I had so much fun this entire weekend. I do not want it to end. I'm going to stay up until the sun comes up. And boy, oh boy, did I regret that the next day.
Yeah, you were
because there was a knock at the door. It was like, wake up, Impulse, wake up. Iskall's got to go to the airport. Come out and say goodbye. And I'm like, I just went to bed like 30 seconds ago. I don't want to do that. But I got to say goodbye to Iskall because that's rude if I don't. Yeah. And so I come out, eyes bloodshot, no sleep, probably stumbling. And like, bye, Iskall. Can I go back to bed now?
Oh, man.
And then we packed up and we had to drive home. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, but that messed with you, didn't it? You want to talk about it?
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can.
No, it's fine. The whole thing, it actually, here we are 7 years later, it never stopped messing with me. And it reminds me of, this is going to sound like a really, really, really odd comparison. There is, so one of my favorite shows is Scrubs, you know that. And there is an episode where a character comes in, the actor, I'll never remember this actor's name, but he's the actor who played Cameron on Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Can you picture him? Mm-hmm. Right? There's not a chance anybody would not recognize him, but I can't remember his name. Anyways, he was on Scrubs and he's diagnosed. So Elliot, who's played by Sarah Chalk, am I saying that right? Diagnosed him that he's terminal. And he's, he has to accept that he learns to accept it or whatever. Then it turns out there was a mess up in the lab or something and he's not terminal. He's actually going to be just fine. So this is good news. So he's like, so I'm not dying. She's like, you're not. Like he literally thought he had like weeks to live. He went from that to you're completely normal. There was a screw up in the lab or whatever it was. And he ends up suing her. And it's weeks later and he ends up suing her. She's like, what? How could you sue me for this good news? And he's like, because my whole life is different now. He goes, food doesn't taste the same. I don't care about my job at all. He's like, I've become completely at peace with everything. And now I can't get back to caring about anything I used to care about. So Minecon did that for me. I've taken my work so very seriously, but going there and seeing that you can take a passion like this, not just Minecraft, but just entertainment in general. And you don't need to be in Hollywood where your uncle knows a director. The times have changed and you can do this from your house if you've got the skill set. And I've always been confident in my ability to have the skill set to be entertaining and all that nonsense. I've always had that confidence. And now I'm like, well, wait a minute. I just signed autographs, which means people remember me. People want this. I'm good at this. I'm actually watching people far younger than me making a tremendous amount of money. Like I'm doing the math. I went to college and I get paid well. And this person's making like 20 times much as what I'm making. And they're half my age. Something's wrong. You know what I mean? I remember being like, most people will be okay with that. I'm not. Not that there's not, but like meaning I'm not okay with that unless I go chase this. So ever since that day, it's rocked me. I still do good at work. I still do my thing and try to make a difference or whatever. But in regards to work was my identity before Minecon. It really was. It's actually been my identity my whole life. I've never had a job where I phoned it in. I've always been that guy that has just been like, my job is to be better than whoever's next to me. And after all these years, I go do this Minecon thing. I see what could be. And all of a sudden, this rat race I've been a part of, boy, is it possible to care less about something? You know what I mean? Because it is. And it's work has been hard ever since. Yeah. It's crazy.
You saw something and it was that apple, right? There's a carrot on the stick.
Yep.
And ever since you just like focused on getting that carrot.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, it leads to drive as well to get there. And you've been working hard in that in the content creation space ever since. I mean, I talk to, peers of mine, and when your name comes up, one of the first things they say is he's one of the hardest working people in the biz, and they're talking about YouTube and streaming and stuff. They're not talking about what you do at your actual job.
Exactly.
They know you work an actual job, which is a part of it, right? Yeah. They know that you're doing everything you're doing on top of the fact that you have a full-time job, family and all that going on. And so, there's some respect out there for you, but, I remember like the look in your eyes, like you just like, I don't want to go back to the life that I knew before this weekend.
Yes, dude. Yes. And Tango told me, he's like, yeah, that feeling you're having right now, it's not going to go away. Yeah. He told me that, dude. And I don't know if you felt it in the very first Minecon you went to, but he felt it in the very first Minecon he went to. He goes, it messes with you, man. And sure enough, I remember going back to work and I remember being like, dude, last week, this project was my everything. This project was my identity. I don't care even a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't care at all. Yeah. Like, and it's like, boy, if you work with me, believe me, I still do my job. But I like when I'm working.
I hope my boss isn't listening.
I know when I'm working. Well, what's crazy is it's really altered a lot of it. I don't know how to explain this, but where I've always had a problem participating in things that I know don't have value. This opened my eyes to boy, there's lots of stuff I do that doesn't have value. Lots of things I'm involved in, not anymore. And it's kind of crazy because it's got kind of an office space thing going on to where since I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not. That's never going to take off. That's not going to. Yeah, that's good. We need that. This company needs that. I'll do that.
Somehow it's turned into an even better employee because you're not allowing for stupid things to take up your time.
Yeah, I can tell you after this because I can't get into specifics, obviously, but there's a couple projects that when they were brought my way and it was explained to me, I was like, no, that's never going to work. And we're going to spin our wheels for 6 months before we decide to ditch it. I'm not wasting my time. Somebody else. And it doesn't go over well, but now I'm watching as they're spinning their wheels. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, this
you called it. Makes you look good. So, all right. We dogged on DC, with the dad run. And also he was the butt of the joke of that card story.
What are you doing? You're not supposed to give it up. Well, I guess we didn't get into specifics.
But we didn't, get into who was the breakfast hero of the trip. And he deserves this.
He deserves a medal.
One morning we woke up and Dad Kraft is in the kitchen just whipping up a storm of food.
Yep.
And we're like so grateful because, we probably had partied a little night before. And so he hooks us up and he sets down, he's like, here you go, guys. I made biscuits and gravy.
Yep.
And I've never really been like a huge biscuits and gravy fan. Like I can take it or leave it. I go to a buffet or whatever, and that's the thing I'm grabbing, or even order it at a cafe. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So get the little rolls, open them up, pour the gravy on top.
Oh my God.
Took a bite, and I was like, this is the best biscuits and gravy I've ever had in my life. How did you do this?
Good. It was so good.
It was like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is slightly better than the last time I've had biscuits and gravy. It was like I was tasting biscuits and gravy for the first time ever.
Yeah, by the world's greatest chef, by the creator of biscuits and gravy.
Right.
And the biscuits came from Biscuit Land, and the gravy came from Gravy Lake.
I mean, it's another thing that like so many years later we're still talking about it. It's still like anytime his name comes up, it's the first thing I think about is his biscuits and gravy because it was so good.
It's worse.
So there you go. That we had to give him some props because
I went out to breakfast with my dad and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get the biscuits and gravy. I took a bite. I'm like, get the I just cannot hold it.
We need Dad Kraft to work here.
Yeah, it's so good.
I just had to give him some props before we ended because we did get through the whole trip and it didn't talk about those biscuits and gravy, and they deserve some time.
So hopefully Minecon comes back.
Yeah,
I never did, but hopefully it comes back. Right? It never did.
Never did. No, they've just been doing like virtual ones or whatever. Just watch it online. I said, hopefully, pandemic stuff's winding down and people will be not afraid to get into convention centers and pack in once again. And, Conflu will still be a thing, but whatever.
I'm fine with it.
I know. You come home, you're sick for a few days and it's fine. The worst one was when I went to London and I got sick and I had to go on the plane, 15-hour flight or whatever it was. And I was super sick flying back. That one sucked. I did not appreciate the Conflu. And I actually got Conflu like on the first day. Like I caught it on the first day where the second day had kicked in and I had to do a panel and I literally couldn't talk like on the panel because I was sick.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So I was like taking all sorts of like lozenges and stuff just to be able to get a few sentences out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, but I'll take it again. I'll happily go to a convention, especially Minecon. Those were super amazing because it's like I've never been recognized in public outside of Minecon conventions.
Right.
So
right. It's please bring it back. Only it's also such a good conglomerate of just wonderful people all there for a singular purpose. And so hopefully it comes back.
Yeah.
That's all we can say.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. And I'll be there.
Yep.
No, I don't care where
Me
it's at.
too, man.
They do one in Australia. I'll make the flight.
Put it on the moon. I'll be there. I'll be there.
We'll find a way. Oh man, fun time. Fun time is always good reminiscing. I was like, when we went to start, I'm like, man, my memory is so hazy on this whole thing. And then the second it was like, remember this? And it was like the whole thing just flooded back. And I was like, oh yeah. There's a lot of things we didn't talk about that happened as well. But those little nuggets, they come out here and they're on streams and stuff.
Yeah, we can't cover everything, but I'm grateful for the chapter in my life. I'm truly grateful for that moment and going with you and having that opportunity. So if it ever comes up again, I'm in all the way.
And everyone that's listening or watching us, you're invited. Come to Minecon, come hang out with us, come give us a chat. we'll try to give you some mumbo time. You learn your name and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Well, that was a fun conversation, man.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, you mean the podcast?
The podcast.
We're going to throw our own Minecon. All right, man. I'll see you here. I'll see you next time.
See ya.